Well, we probably thought we'd finish with the tragedy of Summerland, the 40th anniversary, of course, being just the other week. But it's amazing how people have got things, especially of the occasion. And we're lucky to get hold of Zoe Cannell, as in the daughter of Geoff Cannell, of course, a great guy who I used to work with at Manx Radio. And it was Zoe that pointed out to me that your dad actually had kept pretty well all the newspapers from that time. And you don't chuck anything away, do you? So you've kept everything.
This is a family tradition now,
Is
actually.
it?
I've kept up the tradition of keeping the papers from the very important national and local events.
I mean, you weren't even born at the time, right?
I wasn't. I was born in 1977, and this was 4 years before I was born, but it was the year that my parents got married. So I've always known about the tragedy of Summerland.
I mean, literally, we're going to go through them and hold them up, really, because I think it just brings it all back. And obviously, the story was developing very fast. This is the Daily Express.
The Daily Express from the 3rd of August, which was the day after the fire. And as you can imagine, it was the main headline story. This was a huge national and international event, and it actually dominated the front pages of all the national newspapers for even up to a week after it happened. On the day after it happened, it seemed as though there were only 30 people who had died, and of course the eventual total was 50, so it was emerging throughout the week. For example, this is the Daily Mail, which says 30 kills, so at that point they were still finding bodies, they were still working out the depth of the tragedy, and it's obviously got photographs there, Paul, you'll be able to see.
Yeah. In fact, I was only 13, but the Daily Mail had it on their front page almost a whole week. I think it just went on because it dripped out in those days. The stories, didn't they? It didn't, 30 they had there, and some places ended up with just saying 49. Others went up as far as 53.
51, yeah, 50. Yes,
51,
I've heard various. Even this weekend, which is the 40th anniversary, that the total still isn't clear. Although I'd imagine that the memorial they have is accurate. I don't know if that's 50.
Well, it's got 50.
50
names were read out on the day.
Yes. This is also the Daily Mail, which is the 4th. That's 2 days after.
Gosh, 3p for the Daily Mail.
Yes,
Cheapest.
It's 60 now. 60p now.
Times have changed.
Yes,
but
yeah.
So
it's all
more victims.
Coming out, all the news is coming out of the victims and how many people actually had been killed in it.
And then this one is in colour, the Daily Record.
Yes, this is a wonderful one here, the Daily
Really,
Record.
it's a wraparound actually, isn't it? I pull that out, like both sides.
Indeed, yes.
You can just see how vivid that is. That's obviously after the event and day after, but also whatever. But obviously, a lot of Scottish
that was from the
holidaymakers.
Yes, of course. Yeah, plastic death trap. So that's the Daily Record.
And the
Sunday News. That's the 5th of August, 1973.
And you'd like to turn that around. I mean, this is a picture inside, which has been seen, but it's again, it brings it home, doesn't it? Exactly the conditions.
Exactly how horrific it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then back.
See, it's saying 51 on this.
51, yeah.
So that's
what date's that one?
5th of August. Yes.
And
this
then
is also the Daily Mail. This is where.
Now that's interesting because this was these two boys that were passing. They kind of blanked out their faces, but for a while there was a thought that maybe they happened by chance to have got a picture of them, but I'm not sure if that actually came to anything.
I don't know whether two people who could possibly have been responsible in any way would casually be walking up the tram lines with the towering inferno behind them. It seems somewhat unlikely. It seems unlikely that anybody would be doing that, quite frankly.
But it says the police are studying the male's picture. So what? Also, Zoe's got the local papers.
Yes. I was just saying to Paul how the Courier and the Examiner, both were the 3rd of August, and of course they would have been different companies. They wouldn't have all been Isle of Man newspapers in those days. They would have been produced on the same day as rival papers to show the
And
disaster.
this one was edition is 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
So
latest.
people were, I mean, what's they got there? 21 dead at that stage. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Yes.
The Courier, as was the Ramsey Courier, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
this one is the same.
Examiner?
The same day, and this is the Isle of Man Examiner with the fonts as we know them today, really, isn't it, at the top? But now it's decreased to be a tabloid with still a broadsheet in those days. The condition, unfortunately, is a little bit poor on this one. I might look into restoring it somehow.
And there was this shock picture as well. I'm not sure we want to get into details on that one, but
Yes.
they weren't sure if it was a body that was still in the sort of rafters at the time.
I can imagine it was quite horrific getting the bodies out.
And my story, the morning after, we came on the tram from Ramsey and we were stopped at the top of the road. They didn't know what to do with us. And then we walked down the hill and you could see that, we assume it was a body still in there. And the whole place was still smoking. We were just let to go past because they didn't know what else to do with.
I think these days the cordons probably would have been
you wouldn't go
a lot
near
different.
it.
You wouldn't be allowed anywhere near it whatsoever.
So one more.
And this one here is the special late edition of the Isle of Man Courier, which is now, this is on the 3rd of August. So even throughout the day, they are obviously now seeing that the death toll is now 48. So it must have emerged, through the course of the day on the 3rd, just the extent of it all.
Because I think some died a bit later in hospital, but...
Yes, indeed, from what I understand. My father also has a list of all the victims, which is over there, yes.
And also, this is the big report into the Summerland fire, and runs into several hundred pages.
Yes, it's not, doesn't make the most interesting of reading because a lot of it is obviously to do with building regulations.
Yeah.
But it was all the recommendations that would have been made after the fire, which I'm absolutely certain would have changed legislation hugely as we know it today. And quite sadly, it often takes a huge disaster to see where things have gone wrong and how they can be improved to avoid such a thing in the future.
Well, that's all the sad part. In the other interview we're going to do with Zoe, we've got actually some other items of magazines about Summerland.
Yes,
So we thought
yes.
we'd show people, because a lot of people don't remember what it's like at all. So we'll do that in another section.
Yes.